So let's go to the May 2016. May 2016, question 1. I would say when you have doing question 1, note that the SGE paper requires you to do it in 3 hours, or any other KCE-Mumlock exam, you're supposed to do it within 3 hours. And time is also an issue with most students. You'd feel bad to feel that you've not done a whole question. It's very long. So you need to have time management, and question 1 should be done in an hour's time. So when you're even doing your assignments, try to limit yourself to 1 hour. And then when you have this question, try to first of all read the questions. Read the questions first before you read the case study, so that you know what you are looking for. So I want to move to the questions to know what is the examiner trying to ask me. What does the examiner want me to answer? So move to the required. One thing that we are asked is, with the use of suitable examples, illustrate how the code of governance for state corporations in your country has been flouted by Sugar Company Limited, by SCL. That is 12 marks, so that would be good marks, 12 marks. Then question B, we are asked, explain 5 measures that SCL should put in place to ensure that the company is competitive in the market. So competitive strategies. So we are still looking at the competitive strategies the organization should adopt. So the first one is corporate governance issues. You capture it somewhere, corporate governance issues. The second one is strategies to ensure that we are competitive in the market. Note that corporate governance issues is giving us 12 marks. The question B on competitiveness in the market is giving us 5 marks. Competitiveness in the market is giving us 5 marks. Then question C, suggest 6 remedies available to SCL where directors are found culpable of breaching fiduciary duties. You know what is fiduciary? Because directors are in a position, fiduciary means you're in a position of trust. In a position of trust. The shareholders have really entrusted you. Breaching means you violate that trust. So we have really entrusted you with our money, but then you start using money for our own assets, for your own personal gains. That means you have violated that trust. And maybe I would ask a question. I want to understand, what can you do, even you as the shareholders? Let's say that you are shareholders of a given organization. What can you do where directors flout the fiduciary duties, or they violate the fiduciary duties? What would you do to ensure, what would you do to these directors? Definitely, number 1, you would sue, institute criminal proceedings against these directors. That's number 1. So we shall see on which grounds shall we. So you need to have an idea of why the answers that you are going to look for in the passage. On which ground are we? We are not going to get an answer where we should take them to court, but then definitely where they have stolen, we need to take them to court. If it's a member of ISPAC, for instance, when you become CPAKs, you register with ISPAC. Then to report you to the professional bodies for disciplinary action. That's another one. So I hope you are capturing them somewhere. So number 1, you said institute criminal proceedings against them. Number 2 is to report them to their professional bodies for disciplinary action. Then you would also institute civil proceedings. Civil proceedings is where you seek compensation. The money they have stolen, you seek compensation. Let them compensate us back. So that is civil proceedings. And then personal liability. For instance, we shall be seeing in the case study, I have read it myself, where the company lost 400 million shillings through legal suits. Is the company, Sugar Company Limited, to lose that, to incur those losses? The directors themselves should be held personally liable. Let them pay from their own accounts. That is it. And then another thing, freezing of their bank accounts. We apply to the court to freeze their bank accounts. This money they were stealing, they were putting in their bank accounts. Let the accounts be frozen so that once investigations are done, the company can recover the money from the bank accounts they had deposited. Then we shall be seeing other things that we can also answer as the remedies. Then question D, we are asked, assuming that you are a corporate strategy consultant and SCCL has approached you for advice on modernization of the company's operations, suggest 6 modules that should be included in the integrated enterprise resource management software for the company. So this is IT in business. When we talk of ERP, enterprise resource management softwares, then we are talking about IT in business. So we shall try to ask ourselves, if you come up with the somewhere, if you come up with a point where, if you see a point where these people need to adopt IT to enable them manage the operations, then you underline that. And you underline it, you know, we are trying to answer this question in an hour's time, you underline it and mark it D. So this point will help me to demonstrate or to illustrate question 1D. That's what you're supposed to do. Then question 1E, we are told to assess 5 unethical practices propagated by various agents of SCL. Various agents of SCL. So we move to the case study. I'm trying to move fast. Hopefully we are together. So let's move to the case study. Sugar Company Limited is one of the oldest sugar manufacturing companies in the Great Lakes region of Africa. The company manufactures sugar from sugarcane, which is mainly sourced from over 60,000 registered outgrowers. The company operates a nucleus estate where it has planted sugarcane on more than 50,000 hectares of land. SCL is 100,000 owned by the government. Most of the sugar manufacturing companies in the country where SCL operates are owned by the government. The farmer's voice is low since they have limited control of activities in SCL, which is largely controlled by the government. The directors of SCL are appointed by the government. The current board comprises 27 directors, most of whom are appointed through local politicians. A recent governance audit revealed that 6 directors were secondary school dropouts. The audit also revealed that 1, no board member has adequate financial management qualification. Some board members were employees of the company and had voting rights. 2 board members had no appointment letters. The chairman of the board was running most of the day-to-day activities of the company. The term limits for the board members were not clear, and some members had served the company for more than 20 years. The CEO and other senior managers were political appointees. SCL had no policy on risk management, procurement, and ICT. So I want to ask a question. Could we have scored any question? Can we be able to answer any question out of what we've read? Without reading any further, can we be able to answer any question? So I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Mercy? Mercy? Can you answer any question? Tell me, any question, question 1, A, B, C, D, E. Any question we have been able to get the answers? Can't hear you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can answer.
Yes, you can answer any question. Yeah, which one? Question 1A?
No, B.
B?
Yeah.
Tell me.
To adopt technology. Yeah.
That one is, so where we have, not, they need to adopt technology, so for them to be competitive, eh?
Yeah, I'm talking about the measures that they can put in place.
So that they are competitive.
Yeah.
Yes.
To develop risk management plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't you think that we have answers for questions? When you talk of the corporate governance issues, have you been able to identify any corporate governance issues in SCCL? Corporate governance issues means what we discussed as the principles of good corporate governance.
Yeah.
You've been able to identify them?
In the Nini?
In the case study.
Okay, I've not read it.
No, I mean, we've been reading together.
Yeah, up to there only.
Yeah, up to there. That's what I'm asking.
Okay. For now?
Yeah. So it's being the first time I know, understand, eh?
Yeah.
But then we talked about, for instance, the audit revealed, let's go back to the audit, eh? No board member had adequate financial management qualifications. And we said that the board should have a variety of skills, and that's what we called mix of skills. So meaning that one of the corporate governance issues is that there is lack of board competence and the mix of skills. Is that true? Yes. So because you even find that we are told that 6 directors were secondary school dropouts. That one helps you to illustrate on the issue of lack of board competence and the mix of skills. Tuko pamoja? So then the audit also revealed, number 2, some board members were employees of the company and had voting rights. Meaning they vote and at the same time they are the ones who are managing the company. Is there separation of power? There is no separation of power. So there is lack of separation of power or lack of balance of power. So when you're illustrating, then I would expect, for instance, you say that Sugar Company Limited has flouted the guidelines. The Sugar Company Limited has flouted the guidelines for state corporations in my country in the following ways. Then you start the first paragraph. There is lack of board competence and the mix of skills. Then this is because the board of directors, most of the board of directors, and particularly 6 of them, were secondary school dropouts. The audit that was done also revealed that there was no board member who had adequate financial management qualifications. That is 2 marks. Then I proceed to say, there is lack of separation of power in the board and rampant conflict of interest. I can proceed and define what it means by separation of power. Separation of power means that there should be no one person who has unfettered power. There should be no one person who has unfettered power. Then I illustrate from the case study and say, some board members were employees of the company and had voting rights. Then I would also illustrate it by also look at the audit revelation or the audit findings number 4. The audit finding number 4, the chairman of the board was running most of the day-to-day activities of the company. And if you can remember what we said about the chairman of the board, he's not supposed to be involved in the management. He's not supposed to be involved in the management of the company. Then, so that one you'd also use it. Then the term limits for the board members were not clear, and some board members had served the board for more than 20 years. That's also a good corporate governance. Even though we did not state it, it's a good corporate governance requires that board members there should be term limits for the board members. So those ones who are in the tea growing areas, for instance, we are so much into the KTDA regulations that have been gazetted, that have been documented by the minister. And he has also said it that the KTDA directors should not serve for more than 2 terms. Even the president himself should not serve for more than 2 terms. So the board limits is one of the principles of good corporate governance. But then here we are told that the term limits for the board members were not clear, as some board members had served for more than 20 years. Then we are also told, you remember we also talked about the appointment to the board should be through a formal process. Should be through a formal process. But the board of directors at Sugar Company Limited were political appointees. So this is also a governance issue at Sugar Company Limited. So I can see from the Facebook, I can see which question is this. I'm answering May 2016, question 1. I'm trying to answer question 1 of May 2016, particularly question 1A. So that's what I'm trying to answer. So answer to question, no formal appointment. So I can see from Nicola, indeed you can even comment, answer to question, no formal appointment of directors. We have been told directors are appointed by local politicians, which is very true. Then I can also see a third should be non-executive directors. Accountability to members is lacking. Tesla is telling me that accountability to members is lacking. Illustrate to me, I want you to illustrate to me, tell me from the Sugar Company Limited, that is what I'm looking for, so that I can tick 2 marks. So if you tell me accountability to members is lacking, I'll put a question mark. But then you'll tell me from the case study, ABCD. So I want an illustration. So incompetent directors appointed to the board, then you illustrate that from the case study, 6 directors were secondary school dropouts. You must illustrate from the case study. So that is it. Then we also told the CCL had no policy on risk management, procurement, and ICT policy. That's also a governance issue. So we are going to get more answers, but then basically question 1A would have scored 12 out of 12 from what we've done today. Then we proceed to the case study. Let's proceed to the case study. SCL and its contracted farmers are yet to embrace modern methods of farming. I want comments from you. Tell me that statement alone. It helps me to answer which question? That statement alone, it helps me to answer which question? It has not adopted modern methods of farming. So the outgrowers greatly rely on rain to grow their sugarcane. Rain-fed sugarcane takes 3 times more time to mature than sugarcane grown using irrigation. Lack of sufficient sugarcane has resulted to SCL shutting down the manufacturing plant most of the times during the year. A number of employees are usually laid off during the shutdowns. Some shutdowns are, however, scheduled to allow the maintenance of the machines and boilers. These shutdowns can last for several months, leading to a huge shortage of sugar in the market. So I want to understand that paragraph. That paragraph, it helps you to answer which question? I want to collect answers. So put up your hands so that you can give me the answers to any of the questions. Who would attempt? Kaira? Yes?
Okay. I think the paragraph will answer question number B.
Question number B?
Yes. One of the measures that SCL should put in place is that they should advise their farmers to embrace modern methods of farming.
Very true.
So that they don't have to close their farms when there is shortage. Yes.
Then another way, okay, so now we've got, in question 1B, we are supposed to score 5 marks. And now you have helped us to score only 1. So help us to score another 2nd mark.
Okay. Could somebody else please help me?
Yes? Lagat? Langat?
Hello?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you. Oh, you are lost? Umepotea? It's okay. Unmute yourself, please, Langat. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about the technology.
Yes.
Because we can see SEL has not adopted the modern technology.
Yes.
Because we have told in the diagram.
Yes.
Some towns are, however, scheduled to allow for maintenance. That means they are using the absolute technology.
Yeah, they are using obsolete technology. So they need to adopt technology, something that had also been captured by Mercy. So that is another way. We are going to see whether we are going to get answers. Very good, Langat. Thank you. The company has a capacity of producing. We are moving now to the third paragraph. The company has a capacity of producing 300,000 metric tons of sugar in a year. However, it only produces 100,000 metric tons. I believe that one is also an answer to do with technology. The company has a capacity of producing 300,000 metric tons of sugar in a year. However, it only produces 100,000 metric tons. Then SCCL is highly inefficient, poorly governed, and has lost goodwill from farmers and employees. Due to low pay per metric ton of sugarcane delivered to the company, its contracted farmers have resorted to selling their sugarcane to its competitors. This adds to SCCL woes, since farmers are financed by the company to acquire farm inputs such as fertilizers and seedlings, with the hope that the company would recover its money after the delivery of sugarcane and before making payments for the sugarcane delivered. So that one helps us. So let's look at that. Tell me, which answers do we get? We have adoption of technology because they are producing 100,000 metric tons. That is question 1B. If they were to adopt technology, they would be able to produce to the maximum of 300,000 metric tons. Then they also need to pay their farmers. They need to pay their farmers on time, and they need to pay them. They need to pay them better than they are paying them currently. So those are some of the ways in which they are able to achieve competitiveness.